Welcome back to the main stage, and we are finally about ready to get started with Demuslim versus Violet. Two players, as we were saying before we cut the break, that have a very storied history.
Yeah, certainly that encounter that they had in the quarterfinals of IEM Sao Paulo back then. Violet was the favorite for the series. The Muslim made it through the group, but he was just not playing as well as as we often see him do. Violet took a quick 2-0 lead and everyone thought this was going to be it. But then in game 3 and 4, the Muslim played so well, really exploited the weakness of Violet, where Violet was just not able to deal with multi-prong attacks of Hellions all around the map. And the Muslim just played almost better than ever. Then game 5 was on Tal'Darim Altar. The Muslim opened up with the Reaper and the Bunker. He killed the hatchery. He had that game won. He would win that game 99 out of 100 times. But this time, he did not have a wall at home for a couple of slow links running across the map. And because he had a proxy Reaper, he didn't have any units at home. And Violet still won a game that he should have never, ever won. And that was the most remarkable series of that tournament, in my opinion, because as we later on learned, that Violet went on to win the entire tournament.
That's right. Intel Extreme Masters Sao Paulo, he stood up on stage, said, "Obrigado, Brazil," as they crowned him champion. It was a really cool, special moment. There's Violet's player card. You can see that he was a monster this season in the North American Star League. 8-0. As we talked about, he does have that first place finish at IEM. Recently finishing second place at IPL 5. Violet actually said that he feels like that second place achievement is probably the greatest achievement of his career, as that was one of the most competitive tournaments ever played.
I couldn't agree more, Ben. But he had a great year. I want to talk about it a little bit later on as well. Here we take a look at the Muslims player sheet. He's been with the NASL since season 2. And Ben, do you know that in the regular season, all 3 seasons combined, his best of 3 score was 19-4.
Incredible. He's been a very consistent performer for us.
In a league where we see more and more foreigners dropping out and more Koreans entering the league, because it's just hard to make it through our regular season. The Muslim is overall 19-4 in best of 3s, and that even includes 1 walkover loss. That's just absolutely amazing. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's
one of the best in our history.
You're right. He has historically been one of the most consistent regular season performers in North American Star League. I would love to see that carry over for the first time ever into a postseason for Demuslim, where he goes semifinals, grand finals, maybe all the way to the top.
Would be one hell of a story. Of course, the Muslim made it to the offline finals in season 2. He lost against Storzen back then. Season 3, he came so close, fell 1 match short of Red. Then Red went to the offline finals. But the Muslim still once more made it into the final 16. And now he's here once more, but in the final 8.
You're exactly right, Kevin. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Daybreak. The blue Terran representing the evil geniuses, it is Demuslim. Muslim and me have a lot in common. We're both going bald.
And you're both named Ben.
Yeah. Bottom left-hand corner of Daybreak, the red Zerg player representing Team Azubu, one of the most consistently performing Zergs on the planet. It is Violet.
And talking about having things in common, man, both these guys have a lot in common as well. Of course, they've been living in the US both for quite some time as well, so they are basically representing North America over here.
In a way, yeah,
yes.
Certainly.
And did you know that, a little bit of trivia, but both of them represented the same team in Warcraft 3 for a long time as well, Team Serious Gaming. That's quite funny as well, if you think about it.
They have a history that transcends StarCraft, which is pretty awesome. You don't see that very often. I guess in esports. I mean, sometimes you talk about the Warcraft 3 legends like Grubby. Sometimes you harken back to Brood War players like Idra. But these guys are connected from way back in the day.
And as you said, a lot of history. They met each other a lot in StarCraft 2 tournaments as well. Violet used to beat the Muslim more often than the Muslim beat Violet, but the last encounter went decisively into the Muslim's advantage. And that's also, the Muslim is a very emotional player. We talk about that so often. If in his mind, if he believes in the victory and he thinks he can do it, then he can really push himself to a whole nother level. And as he likes to describe it, bring his A++ game, and it's something that only very few players can. A lot of people can play good, some people can bring their A+, but some people bring that next level. And when the Muslim is playing, we often like to call that his Devil Terran mode. So guys, so far we see the no-gas fast expand opening over here from the Muslim on Daybreak. He played a fantastic game against Sen on Daybreak. That was without a doubt the best game of this series. We were just blown away by his play, how methodical he was about all his actions, never really sacrificing units, but once he was, well, we saw an SCV
angry drone,
that drone is ready. He saw the carbot animation. But that was a really great game from the Muslim on Daybreak.
Yes, it was. I feel like the Muslims' play has reached maybe a new height. Like we've always talked about him as being a great European Terran, a great representative of the foreign scene. But I think in recent months, like the last maybe even 2 months, we've seen him reach a level that is comparable to some of the best Korean Terrans. And I want to see that come out here at this final. We've talked about it before. The Muslim's biggest enemy is himself.
It's so true, without a doubt. We see the triple orbital opening up, but as you said, he's been writing blocks as well. Clutch mentioned it before, and he also really said, okay, for the rest of the year, I just want to focus on the North American Star League. I want to see what I'm capable of. I want to see if I can make it to the final, perhaps even further. If the Muslim, man, and this sounds crazy for a play that I would still say as successful as the Muslim, because he's been around since day one of the beta, guys. The very, very first Zota Cups, which were the very first StarCraft 2 tournaments run ever. The Muslim made it to the final in Cup number 3, and he won Cup number 4, back then meeting Dimaga in back-to-back finals. He's been around for that long, but if the Muslim would win this series, he wins more money in one tournament than he ever did in his career.
Wow.
And that's weird to think about, because he did win the I-41 or 39 back then in England in the final against Sarans. He had a great run at the Intel Extreme Masters Global Challenge in Kiev. When I used to live together with him in Germany, he took top 3 there. That was awesome, but he never had that crowning achievement.
Well, there's no time like the present, Kev. We can see that he's opened very greedily. Fast 3 command center. Violet is also going to 3 bases quite fast. And I'm very interested to see more of the Terran versus Zerg matchup playing out on the back of this recent Infestor change.
Yeah.
We saw Polt versus Golden earlier, a fantastic series. Both those guys played out of their minds, but you could see very real ramifications to some of the changes they made to the Infestor.
More than anything, I think you can really see that some Zergs struggling a little bit with it. Normally, your Infestor is in range, you see them. You know that they are clicking for the fungal, but then they already put the Infestor back, and that's something that you have to get used to. And I'm really curious to see. I'm not sure if Violet always uses shift click or not. If you use shift, then you'll still be fine. But if you just like right click, drop fungal, and you used to put them back, that's not something that you learn in 3 or 4 games. But you're gonna have to be more careful. And curious to see how it's gonna play out.
Violet will be playing a Zergling-focused style. We see he's getting the +1 melee attack upgrade, the +1 armor upgrade, the carapace upgrade, and he's also starting that lair around 7.5 minutes. So really nothing particularly unstandard about what Violet's doing. Baneling Nest is going to go down. I like seeing early upgrades in Baneling Nest because it does open up some cool timings, but that doesn't necessarily commit him to a certain sort of strategy.
It's so true. And one more thing, man, we noticed lately about the Muslims play is that he does not really sacrifice Hellions anymore. There used to be a time where he would drive in Hellions, try to kill as many drones as possible in a short amount of time. Hellions, perhaps in a natural, a couple of benches in the main base. Lately, he keeps his Hellions alive for such a long time. As long as he has some map control, as long as he knows what's going on, he is completely fine with not killing drones.
Yep. A couple of Spore Crawlers going down preemptively for Violet. That's just great instincts, or maybe it's just built into his opening, as there is a Banshee across the map. No cloak for the Terran player, so as long as Violet has good positioning, he shouldn't take too much damage here. And Aspire is going to go down. Something that a lot of people speculated when the Infestor nerfs were announced was that we're going to see Zergs returning to Mutalisk play. Oh, Hellions getting caught in the middle.
First blood drawn here by Violet, getting a nice surround off on 2 Hellions. It's not major, but it's nice. Actually, there's not a single unit over here in the natural for the Muslim. Fortunately for him.
His units are in the 3rd base, but Violet is going to find this opening. He's going to get at least a couple of SCV kills.
No, that's not a nice opening at all. This is not going to deal like an insane amount of damage, but still a lot of SCVs losing some HP. The Muslim losing a little bit of mining time, but the Hellions are here on time to clear up the links.
And a single Zergling runs up into the main base. I love that small attention to detail that Violet pays there. Just gets the scout off, sees the double eBay, knows exactly what he's playing against. With complete certainty, he's playing against Bio.
Yep. The Muslim is a player who loves Bio. We all know that he loves to multitask, send out medevacts all across the map. That's what he excels at. That's what he's good at in the crazy situations of the game. But he's also not a player who never plays mech, because you see him do it quite often. In a best of 5, it's very likely that at least one game out of the 5, if it would go all 5 series, that he's going to go mech once.
Angry Siege Tank kills a Zergling as Violet tries to run past into the 3rd base. Might have killed an SCV or 2 there, maybe picking off a mule, but for the most part, the Muslim is defending this. The great thing about what Violet's doing, though, Kev, it's not that he's doing tons and tons of damage. It's that he's maintaining tons and tons of map control. He's always in Demuslim's face. He always knows, okay, this is exactly what your army looks like. This is exactly where your army is.
And that's not what Demuslim wants. The reason why he makes those Hellions is because he wants to be the one being out on the map. He wants to see what's going on. Unfortunately for him, at the end of the day, all that he lost, man, was 5 SCVs. And that's not that bad, considering the fact that he did open up with a pretty quick triple orbital.
Violet's already making Corruptors, which is kind of interesting here. Not going to play Muta at all. He's just going to be playing Zergling, Baneling, Corruptor. We can see he hasn't even started his Hive. He hasn't even built an Infestation Pit. So Hive is a long way off.
I'm actually a little bit confused, man, by 7 Corruptors in this phase of the game.
I have to wonder if it might be a small mistake. Hellions and a Banshee might be able to shut down this expansion. Zerglings and Baneling's going to come rolling forward. But there is no anti-air in this army, so that Banshee still has free reign. Good control by Demuslim, killing a lot of these Zerglings, and Violet forced to disengage.
And
Great
keeping
play.
the Hellions alive, man, that's so important. Now the Banshee's still here as well, so he's going to work on this hedge once more. Here we do have those 7 Corruptors.
They are going to actually be the heroes of the day. It means no more Banshee play.
The Muslim must be so confused right now.
Wait, like, you already have Hive?
What? Broodlords? The Muslim still microing those Hellions, doing it as well as he possibly can. Might be able to pick off a couple of Banelings.
Oh, yes, he will. That's great control, and these Hellions have been incredibly cost-effective. They will ultimately die. But that was not a waste of money. We can see Muslims lost 1,400 resources to the 2,000 of Violet. Very well played.
The Muslim on 71 SCVs right now. The Violet just on a few more drones, 79. Now we do see Hive Tech going down. 2 upgrades are about to finish up for him. But the same is for the Muslim, and this is...
Violet sees it and does detonate. Actually, I think it was shot after the scan. A couple of Marines dying. It was not a total loss there for Demuslim. A couple of siege tanks will go down, but Marines in good positioning clean up the Zerglings, and that was not all that bad for Demuslim.
That was not bad at all. There could have been so much worse. Scan just in time, picked up those Banelings, lost a few Marines. Killed off a lot of Lings once more, taking a look at the unit count. We see there's like no larva at all, man, for Violet. He has 3 larvae out on the map. If the Muslim would push out soon, it's going to be quite tough for Violet. He's really going to have to be on top of his injects. Otherwise, he's going to be in quite a bit of trouble soon.
For the most part, he has been keeping up with the injects. Queen's all pretty low on energy. It just means Violet's been macroing very, very cleanly. 155 supply right now for Demuslim, 140 supply for Violet.
Army supply heavily in favor of the Muslim though, and this is that phase of the game where Scan goes down on the final moment once more, where he likes to make something happen. Here is where he's going to try to advance his position in the middle of the map and perhaps send some medevacs out somewhere. I'm surprised there's not a single Overlord here anywhere for Violet to spot the incoming drops. Unfortunately for him, nothing like that is happening at the moment.
Violet's going to counterattack, it looks like, but I don't know if it's going to work out that well for him. Demuslim's got a great position. It's pure Zergling Baneling against Marines and Siege Tanks. Great control by Demuslim, but Violet is going to swing in from behind. Can these Banelings connect with the Marines? I think so. Violet cleans it up with a very nice flank.
That was great. That was a great engagement by Violet, but man, I'm still confused. He lost actually all 7 Corruptors already.
Yeah.
He's remaking one of them right now, but we can also see the Ultralisk cavern going down, and he's not upgrading his Spire yet to Greatest Spire. Makes a man wonder. Yeah,
it's a little bit strange. The Corruptors were certainly maybe not the best investment Violet's ever made here. Marines will stim and run forward, catching a couple of Zerglings and Banelings, morphing in the middle of the map. Nice pickup here by Demuslim.
Excellent pickoff. A lot of Lings once more, though, coming from perhaps behind later on. At least going to try to deny this fort base. This is a great move by Violet.
Immediately, Demuslim should lift this command center. He does before it starts to burn. That's very important. Demuslim's still out on the map right now with pure Marines. A couple of Banelings managing to make connections, but Demuslim with more good control.
Oh, one more Baneling falling. This Corruptor is going to fall as well. Violet really doesn't have that many units right now. So many of them are on the other side of the map. Demuslim with enough Marines right now.
Oh, Demuslim with some great tempo is really taking control of the game. Violet is on pure Zergling Baneling. He's trying to get some Ultralisks out, but Demuslim has been so much more cost-effective than his opponent. I don't know that Violet can really keep up with this kind of scrappy Terran playstyle that we're seeing out of the Devil Terran.
Violet lost like 5,000 resources more, a lot more Marine splits coming in.
Good splitting. Ling's going to try to get up on these Marines, and they should be successful. So finally, Violet buys himself a little bit of space, but if we look right across the way here, Demuslim has a lot of siege tanks out, a lot of Marines out.
This is the real army, but I think the thing that Demuslim does not expect, man, are the Ultralists. There's not a single Marauder out in the field. Of course, a Marine tank can definitely deal with Ultralists, but it would be nice to have a couple of Marauders in the mix. I think he's still expecting Broodlords, even though he did not see a single Infestor.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. 3 upgrades about to finish up for Violet. He's only going to have 4 Ultras. Now, 4 Ultras can really disrupt this kind of army that Demuslim has, but with good positioning...
the engagement is going to be everything. There are 46 Marines on the map right now, but the moment that goes up to 50 or 60, then it's going to be really a lot tougher. 60-70, I'd say.
Demuslim continuing to press his position here, really wants to pick off this hatchery. Marines are going to split out nicely. Now he's like, oh no, Ultralisk, I wasn't expecting this, and this is a pretty good engagement for Violet. Zergling's getting up on top of the siege tanks. Demuslim's going to be completely crushed here. Every Marine falling, every tank falling, and Demuslim has to retreat.
Great fight by Violet, great engagement as well. And this is really what he needed as well, but Demuslim still has enough to fall back on. These Ultralists should definitely not overcommit. Take a look at the unit count tab right now. We still see there it's still 39 Marines, and this is the first time that the Demuslim is going to drop. And without Infestors, without Spine Crawlers, without Spore Crawlers, and perhaps most importantly, without Overlords. Oh, yes, Adrenal Glands as well, Ben. This is going to be hard for Violet to deal with.
Yeah, he might have caught a glimpse of that medevac. I don't see him moving to intercept it,
nothing.
Though.
A couple of links.
8-3-3 Marines and a medevac. That's going to do a lot of damage. Violet is going to try to come crashing into Demuslim's army, though, and Demuslim a little bit unprepared for it. Tanks were not siege. They're going to lose a lot of time trying to siege up, and the Ultras will get on top of these siege tanks. Planetary's done and is doing some pretty good damage, but these Ultras continuing to crush forward. Marines unloading in the main base of Violet. There's nothing there to deal with it. But Demuslim's natural has been breached. What can it? Oh, misrallied siege tank needs to get up behind that wall.
With that bunker and the medevacs, I think Demuslim should have something to fall back on.
Doesn't repair, and but bunker is going to fall. So these Marines forced to run for the hills. I think the drop was dealt with. Nice job there by Violet.
It's 50 against 50 army supply right now. It's so close. If Demuslim, oh, siege tank, you're lost.
How did you get back there, siege tank? Marines chomp it up, or Ultralists chomp it up, and it does ultimately die. Demuslim still stabilizes, and amazingly, he's still even in supply and ahead in army supply.
And still doing very good economically as well. More command centers going up. He was watching the game of Golden vs. Polt earlier as well, and he said, I really think Polt could have won Daybreak if he would have secured that base on the right bottom side of the map. And now this game is almost similar into some degree. Of course, the armies are different, and the way that this game is unfolding is quite different. But if Demuslim is going to be able to secure that 5th base, I think he's going to be in great shape.
Violet's got a single creep tumor that's pushed all the way across the bottom half of the map. It's given him a lot of vision and a lot of extra mobility.
That's so nice for Violet.
Demuslim is continuing to play very patiently, though. He's just being so methodical, just walling out, building bunkers. He's transitioning into that Marauder production. 7 Ultras on the way for Violet. That's a huge, huge swell of Ultralisks.
But still, Demuslim is doing everything that you have to do against Ultras, Ben. He has that Planetary here, as you said. He's working on a wall. He's getting bunkers. He has siege tanks behind it. It's going to be hard for Violet to crush that.
Yes, you're right. You can't really attack into a fortified Terran player. It's just not a good idea. So Demuslim's going to just sit on this position and then send out small harassing groups around the map, like this little Marine squad up at the top.
This hatch is low on HP. I think Demuslim will be able to force a cancel.
Oh, all day, every day, and it's not going to be canceled. Great pick-off by Demuslim, capitalizing on that. That's the 300 minerals that he gets to pocket. He will lose these units. But I would say that's well worth it.
Violet adding his first Infestor, but I'm a little bit weird that he's getting that Infestor even before Pathogen Lens is going to finish up. I guess it's not the end of the world when you only make one of them. But
some of Violet's play just not quite syncing up. We've seen a few mistakes here from him. Demuslim.
I really like this Terran army right now, Ben. Of course, this is still a terrifying Zerg army, lots of Ultras. But if he doesn't get a great engagement, if he's not able to attack from multiple fronts, I think that Demuslim is going to have more than enough damage in his army.
We do have a maxed out Demuslim. This first little squad of units will be surrounded and just crushed. 2 of them, Billy and Joey, managing to sneak away. I don't know where Joey came from.
Me neither, man. 7 Infestors, that's a little bit scary because Demuslim is still very Marine heavy. Yes, he has 10 Marauders in the mix. He's going to see it though. That's such a massive scout. He even picks off a couple of these Marines, but now he knows that there are Infestors out, so he knows that he's going to have to be more careful with his bio units. I'd say losing those few bio units was completely worth it, knowing that Infestors are out. And now this one Infestor, which was even built on the wrong moment, gave everything away.
That's right. That's right. And Kevin, another thing to consider with the new siege tank, or with the new Infestor range, siege tank's even more difficult to play against. Violet trying to come forward, but he's having a hard time. Demuslim is just making good exchanges constantly, stimming forward, doing some damage. Oh, big fungals there. As a lot of these units will be cleaned up. Demuslim finally gets punished there. Looks like he might lose his medevacs as well.
Yeah, lost roughly 20 supply over there. Great fungals by Violet. But he did force out a couple of fungals. Those were pretty much all the fungals that Violet. Violet is going to try to break Demuslim right now.
It might work. Great use of infested Terrans from behind. Ultralisk coming forward, trying to target down siege tanks. Demuslim's in a little bit of trouble. Violet striking at the perfect moment.
I love the tanks, man. He has so many tanks to fall back on.
Violet pushing all the way to the Zelnaga Tower. But as you said, Kevin, Demuslim does have enough.
Great tank positioning once more. That one Infestor that came from over here, dropped those Infested Terrans. Great move by Violet. Allowed him to do even better than he should have done in that fight. But at the end of the day, the Muslims' tank position, just having those multiple lines of tanks, something we saw in his game against Sen as well, is what's keeping him alive. And It's going to be so hard for Violet to ever break that, but now we do see in the production tab.
Yep, here it is, Broodlord transition, and Demuslim's still making medevacs, Kev. He's got no idea. He's completely unaware of this, has no Vikings on the map at all, and this could be very, very important.
One little burrow circling over here does not seen as a SCVs yet, but he is going to delay that command center / orbital for a little while. I do think we're going to see a planet. No, it's going to be an orbital. I'm surprised that it's not going to be a planetary fortress in the right bottom side of this map. As you said, the Muslim right now does not have a single Viking, and he's pretty much maxed out, so he's really going to have to start sacrificing some units. We see a little hit spot over here.
Yep, it's going to do a little bit of damage in the top left. Meanwhile, Violet's trying to send a counterattack squad down to the bottom right, where Demuslim's trying to expand. Both players having to sort of respond to the other's aggression.
Well, a lot of banelings being used there to kill all those Marauders. I think the Muslim will be quite pleased with that. Violet killing off a couple of SCVs over here. The Muslim has to make sure that he doesn't end up losing that orbital. Scan goes down, he will be able to take out these links.
Kevin, I'm really worried for Demuslim when he finally realizes he's playing against Broodlords.
Yeah.
There's 4 Broodlords out, there's 3 more morphing. He still hasn't produced a single Viking, and he has 11 siege tanks on the map.
Great scan right now on top of all those Broodlords, so now he knows.
Now he does know, and what is he going to do? I think at this point, maybe the best play is to start dropping.
Yep. I really think just send like a big drop to the main base with a couple of Marines, but mostly Marauders. Just try to take out as much tech as possible, because these Broodlords are moving forward right now. 7 Broodlords. He has a lot of Marines, but he has so many siege
sieging
tanks.
up might not be the best. Oh, he's going to stim forward. He's going to try to pick off some of these Broodlords with his Marines, but the Infestors are going to come forward and drop some Fungals as well.
3 of them.
A couple Broodlords do go down. A couple Fungals landing as well. Both players losing a little bit in the way of units. Great counterattack in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Zergling's cleaning up a lot of those SCVs. Demuslim's economy reeling a little bit. He's down to just 48 Harvesters. He does have a lot of orbitals.
He has a Tor on the map as well. I think 2 more were in production, or 1 more, and he's really going into heavy Viking production.
I got this on Naga Tower, bro.
No one knows.
No one knows. All right, let's get out of here.
The Muslim sending over that drop right now, Ben, and we were talking about might as well send a couple of siege tanks as well, because he had too many of them to deal with Broodlord army, and well, a couple of units from Violet trying to get there in time. Not sure if it's going to be enough though. He might need more. Okay. Well,
3 Ultralisk unsieged tanks and Marauders do good damage. Oh, actually very miscontrolled there. And Demuslim's going to have to lift up, but only barely. So good job there from Violet. Broodlords are continuing to press forward. Viking count is 3, 4, 6. Demuslim is producing Vikings 3 to 5 at a time, but he's going to take some losses in the meantime. Broodlords.
Oh, the more Broodlords morphing though, Ben. That's a good thing for Demuslim, I think, because right now we'll still have 9 Corruptors, but most of them are not here.
Critically, there are no upgrades on any of these Broodlords either. Drop once more, returning to the main base. That's going to pull these Ultras back again.
4 Ultras, but they're quite low in HP. Perhaps if the Muslim is going to micro this really well.
Needs better positioning. He's just going to lift up, just keeping his opponent very, very busy. Nicely done. Kills the spawning pool.
And meanwhile, on the left top side of the map as well, he's still active with drops, forcing as many links to be there as well. Here is the Greatest Spider. The Greatest Spider is going to take damage.
Could be huge, and that's a good position for those Marauders. He's going to stem and move forward. Greater Spider being transfused, and Violet does hold the line, but that drop is still alive.
The Muslim buying so much time for himself, man. This is everything he wants. He's going to get so many Vikings.
Now Demuslim is going to continue pushing forward. Fungal's going down. Broodlords caught in a very awkward position. Corruptors very exposed right now. The Marines trying to do some damage to the Corruptors. Vikings not really here in the fight. Thor's tanks, Vikings all pushing forward. Where's the main army of Violet? Here come a couple of Ultralisks. They're not going to help against the siege tanks. Drop unloading in the main base. He's going to kill the infestation pit as well.
But he's losing most of the Vikings though, Ben, and that's still a small problem. The Muslim is forced to back off right now in the middle of the map, but he did a lot of damage with his drops. Maybe pick up those Infestors. That would be big. Still a good fight by Violet though.
Yeah,
excellent fight.
Infestation Pit was killed. Spawning Pool has been rebuilt. Greater Spire is very low on health and very exposed right now. Demuslim and Violet both at about 130 supply. Army supplies
here we go, Ben, once more.
The Muslim's gonna catch it, and this is just as Violet's producing more Corruptors. That's gonna mean no Broodlords. There is no second Spire. That's gonna be hard to rebuild.
And there are only 4 Broodlords right now. One is in production.
Spawning Pool is also gonna fall, so Violet taking massive damage here. Finally, he's gonna deal with this drop.
And most importantly, Ben, right now for at least a couple of minutes, he's been comfortably mining off this 5th base, and that's really what he needed for a long time. He has the money. He's quite low on money right now because he's been producing so many units. But economic-wise, I think the Muslim is doing quite okay.
I think so. He's got 11 Vikings. Should be enough to deal with the 7 Corruptors and Broodlords as long as he can stay away from Fungal.
all going to come down to this place. 9 infestors on the map. Still have 8 siege tanks.
Marine's going to continue harassing in the top left-hand corner of the map.
Great
They've
position.
got a great position. Those Lings are funneled up. Ultralisk can't really fight. Corruptor's a little late to the party. Oh, the Muslims. Oh, that's not going to work. No. Evacuate. Abandon ship.
Where's the red seat?
I want to be an infested Terran.
I don't think they want to be that.
Look
at this single Marauder. He's on a mission as well.
It's brave Marauder. What
well, he takes like no damage.
What are you doing over here, dude?
With these upgrades, he took like 0 damage from the Queen.
Finally gets cleaned up. Demuslim has done a fantastic job of buying time for himself.
I mean, it's all going to come down to the bases in the middle of the map as well. I don't think that Violet has the army to just run into the Muslim. If the Muslim has time to split his Vikings up perfectly, it's going to be very nice for him. A couple of Lings are going to run into his little Marine hit squad over here. They are the gatekeepers for now. Violet's
transitioning back to Ultras. The Muslim's got to be careful not to overbuild Vikings. He's got 15, and he's still making a lot of them.
And the 9 infestors are something that's really scary. Enough Lings right now for Violet to make the Muslim worry. He's going to have to send quite a few units to this bottom side of the map.
Pretty massive fungal's going to kill a lot of SCVs. The Muslims scrambling to deal with this.
And now these Marines actually going to run into the real army. Great fungal here by Violet.
And this is very well done. This is sort of spreading the Muslim out, and he's going to have to reposition. He's essentially lost the ability to mine from this expansion as Violet's entire army is there. The Muslim has retaken 12 o'clock.
Right now, the Muslim is basically not mining anything. If he's able to secure this base, that would be super massive. Violet does have a little burrowed circling over here. I'm not sure if he saw the orbital floating. He definitely doesn't see it.
It floated down from the main base, so he probably has no idea. The Muslim is going to push through the center of the map right now with a very formidable Terran army, but is it enough to deal with the Ultralisks?
Oh, the Vikings are quite clumped up right now. He's going to have to split them up perfectly.
And he is starting to do just that, splitting it all. Violet does not want to engage until his Banelings are complete. It's 170 supply for both players, 130 army supply for both players. Very even situation here. It is 100% about how the Zerg player engages, 100% about how the Muslim micros. He is going to send a squad up the top of the map.
More Vikings in production, while more Ultras just hatched. He did see it, but there are no units here at all. All these drones.
Great scan, kills all the drones. He's going to kill this expansion. He also took out the center expansion, so Violet is now essentially mining 0. He has no income at all. The Muslim is mining from 12 o'clock. If he can win one fight, he might be able to win the game.
Yeah, all he has to do is survive one fight. He has a lot of Vikings. 21 Vikings to deal with 5 Broodlords. The most scary part is probably those Ultralisks and the Banelings.
Infestor. It's going to be the Infestor dropping eggs, and then does the Muslim see this? Does he see this? I guess not, no. Infestor's going to probably drop some eggs, and with those eggs, we're going to see Violet engage with everything.
Vikings are going to make it a little bit easier, though. He gets a couple of shots off. Oh, dodges the fungal. That's a new Infestor for you.
Yeah, that's right, man. Infestor nerf in full effect here. Violet's struggling a little bit to keep up with the Muslim.
He's setting up the flank, though, Ben.
A phenomenal game. The Muslim is up almost 70 supply, Kevin.
And army supply is up like 50. He has pretty much enough everything. Couple of Banelings.
Cleans out that expansion, but the Muslim does save a lot of transferring SCVs. Nice catch there.
Wow, the 36-minute game, 13 drones right now against 22 SCPs, but of course Terran shines in these situations because we still have a couple of orbital commands, so mules will still be effective for the Muslim.
Oh man, if only there was a single Raven in the Muslim's army, he wouldn't have any risk.
He's going to see these units though on the north side of the map, going to try to perhaps kill an Infestor.
Nice catch there by Violet, kills actually a lot of bio there. Ultralisk will deal with this Marauder, and the Muslim's going to have to back off. Still, the Muslims, I think he's being so smart right now, he's not forcing the issue.
He doesn't really have to. He is mining right now, and he knows that Violet is not mining. Violet rebuilding the hatchery on the left top side of the map, though, but hopefully it's a little bit lost.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate as Violet does not have
here we go, though. Violet's going to go for it.
Ultra's coming in from behind. Infested Terrans being dropped. Siege tanks are in a great position. The Viking count is so high. There's some nice fungals being cast, but I don't think it's going to matter. The Muslim has so many units. The Corruptors will fall, the Broodlords will fall, and Violet GG's!
Wow. What a first game, man. What excellent play from the Muslim. And if there was still any doubt that he was going to show the same level of gameplay that like he did against Sen here on the offline finals, he already did it in game 1. What a great game.
Fantastic first game from the Muslim. Goes up 1-0 over Violet. The Devil Terran cometh.
Who hates to lose.
Guys, that match brought to you by Cooler Master, their fine line of gaming peripherals, including keyboards, mice, cases, and more available for you at coolermaster-usa.com. We're going to have a very short break. We'll be right back with game number 2.